might cool off after a while. I'm very useful to them. I hope they'll think about that. Right now, it's a very tense situation, but it's all going to calm back down very soon. I might just make it through. If they get me, they get me. I don't care anymore. It's my family I'm worried about. He stopped and shrugged, blew a sigh. Not a bad guy. He hadn't set out to be some big criminal. It had crept up on the blind side, sucked him in so gently he hadn't noticed, until he wanted out. If he was very lucky, they wouldn't break all his bones until after he was dead. "How much does your wife know?" I asked him. He glanced over, an expression of horror on his face. "Nothing," he said. "Nothing at all. I haven't told her anything. Not a thing. I couldn't. It's all my secret. Nobody else knows a thing." "You'll have to tell her something," I said. "She's sure to have noticed you're not at home, vacuuming the pool or whatever you do on the weekend." I was just trying to lighten it up, but it didn't work out. Hubble went quiet, misting over again at the thought of his backyard in the early fall sunlight. His wife maybe fussing over rose bushes or whatever. His kids darting about shrieking. Maybe they had a dog. And a 3-car garage with European sedans waiting to be hosed off. A basketball hoop over the middle door waiting for the 9-year-old to grow strong enough to dunk the heavy ball. A flag over the porch. Early leaves waiting to be swept. Family life on a Saturday. But not this Saturday. Not for this guy. "Maybe she'll think it's all a mistake," he said. "Maybe they've told her. I don't know. We know one of the policemen, Dwight Stevenson. My brother married his wife's sister. I don't know what he'll have said to her. I guess I'll deal with that on Monday. I'll say it was some kind of terrible mistake. She'll believe it. Everybody knows mistakes are made." He was thinking out loud. "Hubble," I said, "what did the tall guy do to them that was liable to get himself shot in the head?" He stood up and leaned on the wall, rested his foot on the edge of the steel toilet pan, looked at me, wouldn't answer. Now for the big question. "What about you?" I asked him. "What have you done to them, liable to get yourself shot in the head?" He wouldn't answer. The silence in our cell was terrible. I let it crash around for a while. Couldn't think of anything more to say. Hubble clunked his shoe against the metal toilet pan. A rattly little rhythm. Sounded like a Bo Diddley riff. "You ever heard of Blind Blake?" I asked him. He stopped clunking and looked up. "Who?" he said blankly. "Doesn't matter," I said. "I'm going to find a bathroom. I need to put a wet towel on my head. It hurts." "I'm not surprised," he said. "I'll come with you." He was anxious not to be left alone. Understandable. I was going to be his minder for the weekend. Not that I had any other plans. We walked down the cell road to a kind of open area at the end. I saw the fire door Spivey had used the night before. Beyond it was a tiled opening. Over the opening was a clock, nearly 12 noon. Clocks in prisons are bizarre. Why measure hours and minutes when people think in years and decades? The tiled entrance was clogged with men. I pushed through and Hubble followed. It was a large, tiled room, square, a strong disinfectant stink. One wall had the doorway. On the left was a row of shower stalls. Open. The back wall was a row of toilet cubicles, open at the front, divided by waist-high partitions. The right wall was a row of wash basins. Very communal. Not a big deal if you'd been in the army all your life, but Hubble wasn't happy. Not what he was used to at all. All the fittings were steel. Everything that would normally be porcelain was stainless steel, for safety. A smashed-up porcelain wash basin yields some pretty good shards. A decent-sized sharp piece would make a good weapon. For the same reason, the mirrors over the basins were sheets of polished steel. A bit dull, but fit for the purpose. You could see yourself in them, but you couldn't smash them up and stab somebody with a fragment. I stepped over to a basin and ran cold water, took a wad of paper towels from the dispenser and soaked them, held them to my bruised forehead. Hubble stood around doing nothing. I kept the cold towels on for a while and then took some more. Water ran down my face. Felt good. There was no real injury. No flesh there, just skin over solid bone. Not much to injure, and impossible to break. A perfect arch, nature's strongest structure. That's why I avoid hitting anything with my hands. Hands are pretty fragile. All kinds of small bones and tendons in there. A punch big enough to deck that red boy would have smashed my hand up pretty good. I'd have joined him in the hospital. Not much point in that. I patted my face dry and leaned up close to the steel mirror to check out the damage. Not bad. I combed my hair with my fingers. As I leaned against the sink, I could feel the sunglasses in my pocket. The red boy's shades, the spoils of victory. I took them out and put them on, gazed at my dull reflection. As I messed about in front of the steel mirror, I saw the start of some kind of a commotion happening behind me. I heard a brief warning from Hubble, and I turned around. The sunglasses dimmed the bright light. 5 white guys were trawling across the room. Biker types. Orange suits, of course, more torn-off sleeves, but with black leather additions. Caps, belts, fingerless gloves, big beards. All 5 were big, heavy men, with that hard, slabby